inside the tall gray walls of Kotoka prison, a place everyone feared. It was early one Sunday morning. The big iron gates creaked open and a new prisoner shuffled in. His paper said his name was Musa Diaw, 38 years old, caught trying to rob a small store. He looked ordinary, maybe a little scared. His hair was messy, he hadn't shaved, and his clothes were faded and ripped. But hidden underneath those old clothes was a secret. This wasn't Musa, this was Ibrahim Traoré, the actual leader of Burkina Faso. "Move it, hurry up!" a grumpy guard yelled, not even looking at him. Ibrahim didn't say a word. He just walked forward, his head down slightly. Why was the country's leader doing this? For months, the official reports from Kotoka prison said everything was fine. No problems here, the reports claimed. But secret letters kept arriving on Ibrahim Traoré's desk. These letters told a much darker story, stories of prisoners being hurt, starved, and even disappearing. There were two very different stories about Kotoka prison. Ibrahim knew there was only one way to find out which story was true. He had to see it with his own eyes. Ibrahim, or Musa as everyone called him, got a dirty prison uniform and was put in cell block C7. This was known as the toughest part of the prison. His new home was a small, dark cell with a hard bunk bed. The sheets were stained, the blanket was thin, and the pillow felt like a rock. The other prisoners stared at him. New people could mean trouble. A big, strong-looking inmate on the bunk across from him spoke first. "Hey, new guy, what did you do to get thrown in here?" "Tried to rob a store," Ibrahim said quietly, looking the man in the eye. "Didn't work out," he added, trying a small smile. "Didn't even have a weapon." The big man leaned closer. "Bad luck, huh?" His name was Bari. Inside cell block C7, Bari was the boss among the prisoners. He decided who got what, and everyone listened to him. "What about you?" Ibrahim asked. "Why are you here?" Bari let out a cold laugh. "Me? I'm not like you, little man. Been here 15 years. Murder, stealing, you name it. My real crime? Getting caught." Ibrahim looked around the dark cell block. "What's it really like here, Bari?" he asked. He really wanted to know. Bari's face turned serious. "Like? There's no like here. There's no life. We just wait. Wait to die, that's all." As night came, a sad sound echoed in the cell block. It was a weak moan, full of pain. Ibrahim looked towards a corner bunk. A young man lay there, so thin he looked like a skeleton. He was shaking, sweating, and burning with fever. "What's wrong with him?" Ibrahim whispered to an older prisoner nearby. "That's Gaspar," the old man whispered back sadly. "Guards beat him up 2 weeks ago. Broke his ribs. They never got him help. Now he's really sick. Infection, I think. Isn't there a doctor? Medicine?" Ibrahim asked, confused. The prisoners nearby laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Doctor?" the old man said. "No doctor comes here. If you get sick, you get better on your own, or you die. The guards don't care." The next morning brought a shock. Before the cell doors even opened for the day, guards came in. They went straight to Gaspar's bunk. The young man wasn't moving anymore. "Another one gone," said the head guard, whose name was Bolo. He didn't sound sad or surprised, just bored. "Take him out." 2 guards grabbed Gaspar's lifeless body like it was a sack of potatoes and dragged him away. It seemed like this happened all the time. Ibrahim felt a burning anger inside, but he kept his face blank. Showing anger here would only bring punishment. Head guard Bolat looked around the cell, his eyes landing on Ibrahim. "You, new guy, kitchen duty today." The prison kitchen was just as miserable as the cells. It was dark and dirty. Ibrahim was told to chop vegetables. He chopped for hours, but his eyes were busy watching everything. He saw the tiny amounts of food, how dirty everything was, and the rotten vegetables they were using. He leaned towards an old man chopping next to him. "These vegetables are rotten," Ibrahim whispered. "How can anyone eat food made from this?" The old man gave a bitter chuckle. "This isn't for us, son," he said, nodding towards a big pot bubbling in the corner filled with thin gray gruel. "That's our food. We only get the slop." Ibrahim looked over and saw another cook working at a different pot, using fresh vegetables and pieces of meat. "What's he making?" Ibrahim asked. "That's the guards' food," the old man sighed. "They get the good stuff. Meat, bread, we get bones and mold. That's just how it is here." That night, back in the cell, Bari motioned for Ibrahim to come closer. Listen, new guy, Bari whispered, looking around nervously. Down the hall, there's a room, a special room. His voice dropped lower. Prisoners go in there. Sometimes they don't come out. If they do come out, they're different. Broken. Ibrahim listened carefully, remembering every word. There's a whole secret system here, Bari went on. You gotta pay bribes for everything. Better food? Bribe. Medicine? Bribe. Want the guards to leave you alone? Bribe. If you got no money, no family outside to send help, then good luck. How long has it been this bad? Ibrahim asked. Always been bad, Bari said, but it got way worse this past year. Since the new warden, Traoré, took over. On the third day, another prisoner died. Just like Gaspar, he'd been sick. But this young man had died right after being taken to that special room Bari talked about. What happened? Ibrahim whispered to Bari late that night. Torture, Bari said simply. His family couldn't pay the bribe money. They have tools in that room. Electric shocks, other things. You hear the screams sometimes, right? Ibrahim nodded slowly. The noises he'd heard at night weren't his imagination. But why? Why do they do it? Money, Bari said, his voice full of anger. It's always about money. The government gives the prison money for each prisoner, for food, clothes, medicine. But the warden and his guards? They keep most of it. They give us almost nothing. On paper, this prison looks fine. In reality, it's this. Ibrahim felt sick. What he suspected was true, but the reality was even worse than he'd imagined. On the fourth day, it was Ibrahim's turn. 2 guards grabbed him roughly. Warden wants to see you, new guy, one sneered. Hope you got money. They dragged him towards the special room. The room was terrifying. The walls had dark stains. In the corner sat scary-looking tools and wires. In the middle was a heavy iron chair with straps. Then, Warden Traoré walked in. He was a large man with a cruel look in his eyes, wearing a perfectly clean uniform. He held Ibrahim's fake prisoner file. Musa Diaw, the warden said, looking him up and down. Or whoever you are. Been hearing things. You talk too much. Ask too many questions. I'm just a prisoner, Ibrahim said, keeping his voice steady, trying to survive. Survive? Warden Traoré smirked. Survival costs money here. Got family? Friends who can send cash. Ibrahim stayed silent. Bari was right. It was all about bribes. Look, the warden said, stepping closer. It's simple. You pay, or you suffer. Your choice. How much? Ibrahim asked. For someone like you, let's say 500,000 CFA francs. That was a huge amount of money. More than most people in Burkina Faso earned in a whole year. And if I don't pay? Traoré pointed towards the scary tools in the corner. Then the fun begins. Warden, Ibrahim said calmly. Before you start, I think I have something that might interest you. Traoré looked curious. Oh? I'm listening. I want to show you who I really am, Ibrahim said. Maybe we can make a deal. The warden laughed loudly. Show me. What are you, some secret prince? Slowly, calmly, Ibrahim reached into a hidden pocket in his old pants. He pulled out a small plastic device. It was a special transmitter, given to him by his Secret Service team. He pressed a button. What's that? What are you doing? Traoré yelled, suddenly looking worried. Calling some friends? Ibrahim said. Don't worry, they're very close by. Traoré's smile vanished. Guards! Get this thing away from him! Get him! But when the door burst open, it wasn't the prison guards. It was soldiers! Dressed in black, wearing masks, carrying weapons. Ibrahim Traoré's own loyal special forces. What is this? Who are you? Warden Traoré stammered, backing away, his face pale with fear. Ibrahim Traoré stood up straight. Suddenly, he didn't look like poor Musa anymore. He looked like a leader. His voice was strong and clear. Warden Traoré, he announced. My name is Ibrahim Traoré. I am the leader of this country, and you, sir, are under arrest. Traoré stared, his mouth open, shaking. No, impossible, he whispered. I heard the stories about this place, Warden, Ibrahim continued, his voice firm. Stories of torture, stealing, hurting people, even death. I came here to see if they were true. And now, I have seen it all with my own eyes. The masked soldiers grabbed Warden Traoré, who didn't even fight back. He was too shocked. But, Traoré stammered. We were just following orders from the government. I am the government now, Ibrahim declared. And the only order is for justice and kindness for all the people of Burkina Faso. Outside, the sound of helicopters filled the air. The entire prison was surrounded. Chaos erupted in the hallways. Corrupt guards dropped their weapons and surrendered. Some tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Then, Ibrahim Traoré, surrounded by his soldiers, walked into cell block C7. The prisoners stared in disbelief. The quiet new guy, Musa, now stood tall and confident, clearly in charge. He looked straight at Bari. Bari, he said. Bari could barely speak. You really are? Yes, Ibrahim said gently. And everything you told me, every story I heard in here, it matters. Now is the time for change, time for justice. Ibrahim spent the next hours walking through every part of the prison. He saw the terrible conditions, the torture rooms, the starving prisoners. He wrote everything down, making sure every wrong thing was recorded. On Saturday morning, Ibrahim ordered everyone, all prisoners and all guards, to gather in the prison yard. Today, Ibrahim announced to the crowd, his voice ringing out. Burkina Faso has a choice. Do we help those who are suffering, or do we look away? Are we okay with letting bad things happen? Silence fell over the yard. Some guards hung their heads in shame. Hope flickered in the prisoners' eyes. I am closing Kotoka prison, Ibrahim declared. These walls of shame will be torn down. We will build a new place here, a center to help people heal and learn. He looked at the arrested warden and guards. They will have a fair trial, he promised. And I mean real justice, not the kind you had here. He then spoke to the prisoners. Everyone here will get a health check. The sick will get medicine. The hungry will get food. And we will look at every single person's case again. Bari watched, tears in his eyes. Is this real? He whispered to the prisoner next to him. It's real, Ibrahim replied, overhearing him. Because our country will no longer hide from the truth. Weeks later, the place looked completely different. The scary walls and barbed wire were gone. In its place stood a bright open center, with buildings for education, healthcare, and job training. The terrible, special room was now a library filled with books. The dirty old kitchen now served healthy meals to everyone. Bari, the former prisoner boss, now worked at the center, helping others. He stood waiting with other former inmates. President Traoré is visiting today, he said excitedly. When Ibrahim Traoré arrived, he wore simple clothes, just like that first day he came as Musa. But this time, he wasn't hiding. He walked among the people, shaking hands, smiling. Gaspar, the young man who had been so sick, was there too, looking healthy and strong. Mr. President, Gaspar said, his voice trembling, you saved my life. Ibrahim shook his head gently. No, Gaspar, he said. We saved each other. A country is only strong when it cares for everyone, even those who seem weakest. Bari stepped forward. There's an old saying, he told Ibrahim. People don't cheer for their rulers, but they hug their brothers. Today, you are our brother. And right there, where there used to be so much fear and sadness, a new feeling began. Hope. The Kotoka prison story became famous. Warden Traoré and his helpers faced justice. But more importantly, Ibrahim Traoré's brave 6 days undercover sent a message across Burkina Faso. No one would be forgotten. And true leadership means feeling the pain of your people and fighting for what's right. As Ibrahim Traoré himself said later, real power is protecting those who need help. Real leadership is understanding what your people are going through. And real freedom only comes when there is justice for every single person.